in the last 2 decades by subsequent Derby winners Oath and Chris Kinn, but that was some time ago. Oath in 99 and Chris Kinn in 2003. Have we another Derby winner in our midst? It won't be Apex King, who will likely take up an engagement at Lingfield in the Derby trial on Saturday. 8 go to post for the Dee Stakes, a listed race over 10.5 furlongs. Cliffs of Moher, 8 to 11. Mirage Dancer, 4 to 1. Bay of Poets, 5 to 1. Fujairah Bridge is 14 to 1. Star of Rory, 16 to 1. Max Zorin, 20 to 1. Al Hamdani, 25s, along with Majesty.
The runners in the paddock for the Dee Stakes, second race in the card, and we're going to go straight to the favourite if we can, number 4, Cliffs of Moher, who was in a few minutes ago, and he got quite edgy, and his connections just took him out momentarily. You'll see him, he's not getting warm. It is quite a muggy day. He's quite just a little bit on edge. Nothing too concerning at the minute, but you just wouldn't like to see him get any more edge. He just very well. And as you can see by his flanks, he's just ever so slightly and in behind his back legs now. He just is getting a little bit warm. That is the favourite, Cliffs of Moher, who created such a big impression when winning his maiden at Leopardstown last back end, and obviously been well backed for the Derby. Currently second favourite behind stable companion Churchill. If we can swing back round the way, we'll pick up the one directly behind him is number 7, Max Zorin, for Andrew Baldwin and David Probert. Andrew Baldwin took the feature on the first day of the Chester Cup. This horse has got experience. He's got a BHA mark of 95, and you imagine if the favourite runs this race or is as good as they reckon he is, he could be come up a little bit short. Next one, if we swing right the way round with the navy rug on, is the main danger to the favourites. Number 8, Mirage Dancer, with the navy rug with a light blue trimming. He's walking around really nice and relaxed. He's got a cross noseband on. He's the son of Frankel, who won the maiden at Chris Kinn, won before he came here and en route to winning the Epsom Derby. And he's a proper athlete. He's got plenty of size about him, a great walk, really relaxed horse, say son of Frankel. Ocean Murphy on board for the first time today, and see if he can put it up to the favourite. We'll find out very shortly. The runners in the paddock for the second race, the Homeserve Dee Stakes.
Yeah, the fact that Aidan O'Brien runs 1 in this race as opposed to 4 he ran in yesterday's trial suggests to me that they think this Cliffs of Moher is good enough to do it on his own. But he's fairly weak. I've seen 4 to 6 out here. It wouldn't surprise me if he goes 4 to 5 in a minute. Most bookmakers now heading towards 8 to 11. There's a bit of a thing with the each way here, because the win-only books have got 6 to 1 Bay of Poets, whereas it's 9 to 2 and 5 to 1. There's quite exposed runner of Godolphin, ran well at Epsom on his reappearance, but yeah, he's 6 to 1 win only. I think the return at the moment would be 5. And Mirage Dancer, extremely well bred Frankel colt of Sir Michael Stout's, who's got a good history in this race as well. That's a 4 to 1 chance, but just a slight weakness in this Cliffs of Moher. I know Michael Shinner said he was back for the Derby earlier on today. He'll have to do this well to justify that, but he's going to go off odds on, but maybe if you're lucky he might end up going 4 to 5 the way he's travelling the market here.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. We come to the Dee Stakes then, looking forward to this, and Nick brought you news a little bit later on that Midterm doesn't go in the Ormonde Stakes. That's on account of the ground, apparently. Of course, Sir Michael Stout had the favourite beaten in our first race. You'd imagine they think it's still too quick for him out there, because he had a pelvis injury, he's had fragility in the past, and he probably doesn't want it rattling quick.
No, I think so, because prior to that pelvis injury, he disappointed in the Dante, didn't he? And I think that was officially good to firm as well, so they're not going to take any chances. It would have been interesting to see how he got on, especially with the visor on today, but you don't take any chances, especially so early in the season.
Absolutely. So we won't see Sir Michael Stout's Aidan O'Brien battle in the Ormonde. We do have it here, and Cliffs of Moher is the only representative from Ballydoyle in the race, and there he is. Now, he was just getting a little bit warm. Niall mentioned that they just took him out of the parade ring and then brought him back in just to try and settle him down. He's got that cross noseband on, he's got a couple of handlers with him, and he was just a touch on his toes, flinging his head around a bit, as you can see there. As far as temperament goes, he wasn't the most relaxed, but look, there's nothing to be majorly concerned about.
No, but it's just a completely different experience for him today. He had the 2 runs last season, maidens at Cork and at Leopardstown. It wouldn't have been wouldn't have been as big a crowd. Totally different occasion for him today, but it's all about learning for the experience. But he's a horse of definite potential, really impressive at Leopardstown. That form's worked out well.
There he is, that is Cliffs of Moher, and it's been said that they had to run this week in order to have him ready for the Derby. He's got plenty of stamina in that pedigree of his. Dan was a 5 furlong 2-year-old winner though, so he's got a bit of speed in there as well. This son of Galileo. Right, Mirage Dancer is in here for Prince Khaled Abdullah. His racing manager is Lord Teddy Grimthorpe, and he's with Niall now.
Yeah, it certainly is. Thanks, Tom. And you've just seen Oisin Murphy get the leg up. He's first time I've seen the horse in flesh. He's really relaxed.
Yeah, he's relaxed. He seems to have taken all the preliminaries pretty well, which is great. Obviously, it's all going to be a good part of the learning curve today.
And that's this track does, doesn't it?
It's very good. As I said the other day, I said it's very good education for both horses and connections.
Yeah. Jockey's report after the first race of ground just a little bit loose, the bitch of shower we've had. Does that worry you?
You know, it's the same for everybody. I think he's a nice striding horse, so I think as long as it doesn't affect him too badly, he should be fine.
How do you think Oisin will ride him?
I think he'll be fairly positive. I mean, I think you have to, you know, it's not a sit and wait course. I think we just want to get him into a nice rhythm and be happy where he is, really.
And learn a bit. Wish you well.
Thank you.
Good to hear from Lord Grimthorpe there. Racing manager to Prince Khaled Abdullah. The colours carried by Mirage Dancer, who is a beautifully bred son of Frankel. He's out of Heat Hayes, who provided Bobby Frankel, of course.
France towards the end of last season when he finished, I think he beat one horse home in Group 1 company. He was well.
Be making his way into stall number 8. Let's get up and join Stuart then ahead of the Dee Stakes.
And they are now all locked away. They're off for the Homeserve Dee Stakes, the extended mile and a quarter. Max Zorin with the blue sleeves was out well, but is in no hurry. And Mirage Dancer, a Sheen Murphy pink cap, immediately darting for the inside running rail. And they're 3-4 abreast as they head up the straight first time. Max Zorin going freely out wide. Then Star of Rory Blackjacket and Cliffs of Moher in the dark blue, handy under Ryan Moore, and sits close up to the leaders as they head into the turn. Fujera Bridge in the yellow jacket, a length and a half away, disputing fourth with Bay of Poets, the Godolphin Silks of Royal Blue. And then Mirage Dancer around the inside from Majesté in the black and yellow last but one, and Al Hamdani at the tail of the field. Passing the 7 then, and it's Max Zorin who leads the Homeserve Dee Stakes field. To Cliffs of Moher wide, close up on the inside, Star of Rory. Fujera Bridge yellow jacket, disputing fourth still with Bay of Poets. Then back to Majesté, Mirage Dancer weighted with, and in last place Al Hamdani as they pass through halfway, and he'd be around about 6 lengths off the leader, Max Zorin. It's been no more than a swinging tempo so far. Max Zorin now leading them inside the 5. Cliffs of Moher, Ryan Moore, dark blue jacket, Star of Rory, Richard Kingscote on the near side. Fujera Bridge, Andrea Atzani waiting in fourth place just ahead of Bay of Poets, the Royal Blue, Will Buick. Then towards the rear of the field, Majesté being niggled along ahead of the still weighted with Mirage Dancer, and Al Hamdani, as the pace quickens, is having to be ridden. So Max Zorin winding things up now as they head inside the last 3 furlongs. Cliffs of Moher, though, right at his quarters. Ryan Moore just a little bit busier. They've moved 2 lengths clear. Fujera Bridge, who's driven up into third ahead of Star of Rory, then Bay of Poets and Mirage Dancer trapped behind horses. Still Max Zorin in front as they head to the top of the straight, furlong and a half to go. Cliffs of Moher is having to work hard to get past him. Bay of Poets is running on into third and trying to close the gap. Max Zorin, Cliffs of Moher though, drawing up sides, nosing ahead. Bay of Poets might be the final challenger. Cliffs of Moher in front, not going to be caught. Cliffs of Moher towers above his rivals, and it's a 6th Dee Stakes Raiden O'Brien. Bay of Poets chasing Max Zorin alongside Mirage Dancer, finishing off fast.
Another winner for Aidan O'Brien on the Rudy this week. Cliffs of Moher, the 4-5 favourite, has won under Ryan Moore. He was never too far away from the pace. The response perhaps wasn't immediate, but he has reeled in the long-time leader Max Zorin. David Probert for Andrew Balding, who has had to settle for third in the end because he was passed by Bay of Poets, who has finished second. William Buick for Charlie Appleby. There is the winner. Taking a while to just pull up after the line. You can see he's got a bit of sweat under his saddlecloth. He was a bit warm beforehand. Ryan Moore has to get very busy with him to reel in this long-time leader, who I think was well ridden by David Probert on the front end. And this horse, though, eventually has pulled about 2 lengths clear of the... Right, just ask him on the trimming of a couple of points in some places, 5 from 7 with Sky Bet. Do you think that's fair enough based on what we've seen? Some have left unchanged, Paddy Power unchanged at 6-1. About right on what you've seen?
It didn't look like a horse that was going to win the Derby to me, but then they're the only firm really that wins derbies, aren't they, nowadays? Visually it looked like it improved for the mile and a half, but I definitely, when they pull up after the line, the Khalid Abdullah horse comes past through and takes some stopping. So I think in terms of an each way bet, if it ran in the Derby, I think I'd be on that one at probably double the price to finish in the frame rather than Cliffs of Moher to win. And they've got the Linkfield and York to go yet, and I think you'd hope there was a more impressive one, and if that's the best that we see in those days, then it looks more likely that Churchill is going to run.
We will see. It is another winner of a key trial for the Derby, though, for Aidan O'Brien and for Ryan Moore. Here are the SPs.
Cliffs of Moher, the 5-4 on favourite for Moore, O'Brien, and in the colours of Mrs. John Magnier. A length and a half clear of Bay of Poets at 5-1. Max Zorin ran a huge race in third at 25-1. And the time was 2:10.85.
On va faire au mieux pour ce handicap, le prix Saint-Sauveur, traditionnelle revanche au prix du président de la République. Mais là, revanche, oui et non, parce qu'il n'y a qu'un seul cheval qui a participé au prix du président. C'est Basile, le numéro 1, qui est d'ailleurs le favori, le grand favori de ce handicap, 2,60 €. Il a conclu deuxième sous 62 kg du prix du président de la République. Il arrive ici dans ce prix Saint-Sauveur sous 72 kg. François, c'est une autre affaire qu'on lui demande ici. L'eau est moins relevée, mais il y a du poids à porter.
Oui, effectivement, c'est surtout le degré de récupération qui est important à mon sens. Et à la question, est-ce que vous pensez que Basile a bien récupéré de ses derniers efforts, son jockey m'a répondu qu'il n'y avait pas de souci. David Galland m'a expliqué que le cheval avait visiblement bien récupéré et qu'il devrait encore défendre ses chances. En plus, le terrain n'est pas trop pénible. Il m'a expliqué que le cheval était quand même un petit peu moins percutant lorsque le terrain est profond, mais là le terrain est souple, donc il n'y a pas de problème.
Alors tout va bien pour le favori, donc Basile, 2,50 € maintenant. C'est vrai qu'il est grand favori. Écoutez, c'est vrai qu'il a fait une bonne performance dans le président, mais c'est toujours plus facile avec peu de poids. Face à lui, qui est joué dans cette épreuve? Eh bien, 2 chevaux principalement. Le numéro 4, Viking Maker, c'est logique, le cheval n'a couru qu'en haie cette année, ça lui aura certainement changé les idées. Il revient ici sur le steeplechase, qui est normalement sa discipline de prédilection. En tout cas, c'est dans cette discipline-là qu'il avait notamment fait l'arrivée du prix Luther 3. C'est un cheval qu'il faut évidemment suivre avec attention, parce qu'il a fait l'arrivée de beaucoup de gros handicaps de ce type. Ses performances en haie sont bonnes, le cheval doit vraiment être au top. Il revient en steeple et de vous, parce qu'apparemment il était vraiment bien le matin depuis le début de l'année au travail. Il pourrait surprendre également. Bref, c'est une course très ouverte mais très intéressante aussi. Et c'est parti pour le prix Saint-Sauveur édition 2017. C'est un gros handicap sur le steeplechase, labellisé Listed Race. Et comme on pouvait s'y attendre, Baptiste Palace va s'installer tout de suite aux avant-postes sous la selle de Nathalie de Souterre. C'est l'entraînement de Jean-Paul Gallorini. En deuxième position, Vol de Brion, qui est parti dans le groupe de tête cette fois-ci sous la selle de James Waverley. En troisième position, à son intérieur, il y a Carmin Doudéry. Et au quatrième rang, le numéro 4, Viking Maker. Trem Demroad, le vétéran au départ de cette épreuve. Il est âgé de 12 ans, le fils de Trempolino. Il est pour l'heure en cinquième position devant Océan Austral et Robin de Norval. Le régulier Ami Djenka est 6-7e pour l'heure. À l'intérieur de Basile, faute de Carmin Doudéry. Petit open ditch, il vient d'éjecter son jockey. Geoffrey, le numéro 9, est hors course après 2 difficultés. Direction la butte en terre. Baptiste Palace n'attend personne. Quelques fautes derrière, Vol de Brion notamment, Trembem Road également, mais tout rentre dans l'ordre finalement. Notez qu'à l'arrière-garde, pour l'instant, on patiente avec le numéro 14, Kipourson. Baron du Seuil est également à l'arrière-garde. Se dirige maintenant vers la rivière du 8 sous l'impulsion de Baptiste Palace. Il est seul en tête, il est seul au monde. Il a une vingtaine de longueurs d'avance sur le reste du peloton et va aller franchir la rivière du 8. qu'il franchit bien. À distance, Vol de Brion est là en deuxième position, un petit peu regardant à chacun de ses sauts, lui qui a l'habitude d'avoir des leaders devant lui. Cette fois-ci, il est en tête de peloton en compagnie de Trem d'Emeraude, Océan Austral ou encore Robin de Norval. Basile, récent dauphin dans le prix du président de la République, est 6-7e, c'est le favori de cette course. Il précède Hdcp. Alrock est là également devant Viking Maker. Au centre du peloton, on retrouve également le numéro 13, Robin de Norval, le 14, Qui Pourson. Baptiste Palace a franchi le Bullfinch. Trem d'Emeraude s'est également quelque peu détaché du peloton. Une course qui est partie sur un rythme assez effréné, là, sur les 4400 mètres. Notez que Curly Basque et la jument est pour l'heure à l'arrière-garde, en compagnie du Gris et Baraka de Thé. On va sortir du tournant qui sera tout à l'heure le tournant final. On va sortir, ou plutôt il va sortir, à savoir Baptiste Palace, nettement détaché de ses adversaires, qui va venir devant les tribunes. Il se dirige comme ça vers la double barrière sous la selle de Nathalie de Souterre. À distance, il y a Trem d'Emeraude. Vol de Brion est 3e devant Viking Maker, Basile à la corde ou encore Océan Austral qui vient en 5-6e position. Robin de Norval est quelque peu plus loin avec Ludovic Philippron à l'intérieur d'Hdcp devant Alrock, Baraka de Thé dans cet ordre. Curly Basque est à l'arrière-garde devant Baron du Seuil et Qui Pourson. Nouvelle haie franchie sans encombre par l'ensemble du peloton. Toujours amené par Baptiste Palace qui va virer sur sa gauche pour aller chercher la rivière des tribunes. Nathalie de Souterre en selle. À distance, le vétéran Trem d'Emeraude est 2e. Vol de Brion est en 3e position devant Océan Austral, le numéro 5. Viking Maker et Basile ensemble sur la rivière des tribunes pour Baptiste Palace qui l'a franchi tant bien que mal. Légère hésitation de Vol de Brion également. Petite faute de Basile, faute plus sérieuse de Baraka de Thé, le numéro 6. David Cotin va certainement l'arrêter après cette faute. Le cheval qui semble être repris, oui, maintenant par son jockey à l'arrière-garde. Il y a également Qui Pourson. Là, il y a du pavillon. Baptiste Palace et sa large liste en tête ont toujours l'avantage sur Trem d'Emeraude qui ramène le peloton. Vol de Brion est 3e devant Océan Austral. Ou encore Basile qui vient le long de la corde. Curly Basque est dans son dos, précédent Viking Maker. Robin de Norval est tout près. Et Baraka de Thé vient d'être arrêté. Petit open ditch bien franchi par l'animateur Baptiste Palace en 2e position. Toujours un peloton emmené par Trem d'Emeraude, Vol de Brion, Basile. Tous trois sur une même ligne. Océan Austral est toujours là devant Viking Maker qui patiente. Robin de Norval, Curly Basque, Hdcp derrière les leaders. Alrock est plutôt le long de la corde. Baron du Seuil est plutôt en dehors. Qui Pourson est à quelques longueurs. On se dirige maintenant vers les obstacles de la ligne intérieure avec notamment le Brook. Maintenant faute de Baptiste Palace qui a fait de l'eau sur cette difficulté et qui perd de son avance maintenant. Vol de Brion se rapprochant à 2 longueurs devant Océan Austral. Basile, Viking Maker qui va facilement. Curly Basque également sur le gros open ditch. Magnifique bond de l'ensemble du peloton jusqu'à Qui Pourson. Le numéro 11 Trem d'Emeraude ayant été arrêté. Direction maintenant le mur. Baptiste Palace a maintenant la meute à ses fesses. En 2e position, il y a Océan Austral. Vol de Brion, Alrock qui s'est rapproché par le plus court des chemins. Il est là, le long de la corde. Curly Basque est dans son dos. Basile est toujours bien placé. Hdcp, Baron du Seuil tente de revenir. Robin de Norval, Viking Maker. Bref, ils sont tous ensemble sur la simple haie au bout de la ligne d'en face. Faute de Baptiste Palace, faute et chute de Viking Maker. Direction le tournant final, il ne lâche rien, Baptiste Palace, il reprend le meilleur. Vol de Brion accélère maintenant. James Prebley décide de le lancer quelque peu à son extérieur. En 3e position, Alrock est bien placé avec à son extérieur Océan Austral. Basile est là, Hdcp également. Curly Basque, la jument de 50, tente de refaire du terrain à distance du numéro 13, Robin de Norval. Ils sont deux à se redétacher maintenant pour aller vers la double barrière, à savoir Vol de Brion, Baptiste Palace, 2 outsiders aux prises pour franchir la double barrière. En 3e position, il y a Hdcp qui refait du terrain sollicité par Thomas Borin. En 4e place, il y a Alrock. Au 5e rang, le favori Basile. Direction la dernière, Vol de Brion à son intérieur, Baptiste Palace, ils ne se quittent pas ces deux-là, franchissent ensemble. La dernière est sur le plat maintenant, Vol de Brion qui prend l'avantage sur le numéro 8, Baptiste Palace qui se défend bien à son intérieur. Hdcp est 3e devant Alrock. Sur le plat maintenant, Vol de Brion le meilleur. Baptiste Palace est 2e à distance d'Alrock. Conclut bien pour attaquer Hdcp et Basile. Sur le poteau, James Prebley qui va s'imposer avec le numéro 2, Vol de Brion. Photographie générale ensuite entre le 8, Baptiste Palace, le 7, Hdcp et le 10, Alrock. 5e place pour le favori, l'As Basile.
Victoire du numéro 2, Vol de Brion, monté par James Prebley. Il s'impose sous 71 kg. Ce fils de D-Flight et First Union, c'est la Kazakh, l'entraînement et l'élevage de Gilles Chénion. C'est plus serré pour les places. Alors pour démêler tout ça, je vous donne rendez-vous avec Laurent.
Oui, mais je prends la main et on est bousculé un peu par les horaires, comme vous l'avez compris depuis tout à l'heure. François, tout à l'heure, donc on vous retrouve à Auteuil un peu plus tard. Le 2 vol de Brion est gagné. Photo 8, 7, 10, on va afficher ça pour l'instant. Et le 1 et 5e, Basile.
Without you knowing it, there's only £4 on official ratings between Red Verdon and US Army Ranger. Would you have been surprised?
Yeah, I would have been slightly surprised. You know, US Army Ranger finished a few lengths in front of him at Epsom. But I suppose both horses, largely because of the layoff for Red Verdon and US Army Ranger hasn't backed up Epsom. They've both got a bit something to prove.
Now there he is then, this son of Lemon Drop Kid. Pat Smullen here taking the ride. Good for Niall to catch up with him. Hasn't sat on this horse before, but Pat is here riding for Ed Dunlop. As I say, this is his first start for 302 days for Red Verdon. It's a shame we don't have Midterm in there. We also don't have Cosmelli, and we don't have Kimrow. But we've got some very good horses on their day. We can move to any horse you want now, Mark. Who would you like to touch upon?
Diamond's Pourmoire, you're quite keen on her chance, or you thought she'd run well?
Yeah, I thought she could have done with a bit more cut in the ground. Her last win came on heavy ground. She wasn't seen after her run in the Oaks, but that somehow form isn't bad form at all. The Cheshire Oaks form from last year when she was third, and I think she's very lightly raced. I think she'll run well. She perhaps could have done with a bit more cut in the ground. I know it's good all over, but if there was a bit of good to soft in there, you'd probably be happier.
Yeah, I think you would, and she actually might provide the pace today. If she doesn't provide it, I think you're slightly at a loss to see what could do, because two of the non-runners, they were the likely pace, so we'll see whether she sets it up for something else.
He's had one winner already then today, has Aidan O'Brien. Ryan Moore was the man in the saddle on that occasion. They team up with US Army Ranger. Let's find out if he's strong in the market with Dave Neverson.
No is the answer to that. He's not strong in the market at all. In fact, he's just gone 9-4 with Ladbrokes and Hill, so that surely must be the show, which is the same price he was on the morning prices, so with a 7-2 shot in. So that's effectively a 20% drift in the price. So I would argue he's very, very weak. I'm certainly not saying he can't win. I'm not at all surprised that he's drifting. He just doesn't look like a horse that you can really have massive confidence in on what he did subsequent to the Derby. But it's hard to identify a single horse, an individual horse that's been backed against him. There's definitely money for the top horse, Duretto, for Andrew Baldings. Obviously, they've won the Chester Cup, and they've been in terrific form at the moment. And the other one that looks to be attracting sport to me out here is Rafe Beckett's Diamonds Pourmoire. Excellent with fillies, as we know, Rafe Beckett, and that one's come in from 8 to 7-1 now on most boards. So they're the ones that have been that have been backed. Red Verdon and Western Hymn basically contracted due to the non-runners, but the horses that have been backed are Duretto and Diamonds Pourmoire, and the favourite, it will be favourite and clear favourite, but it's very, very weak, US Army Ranger.
And that is a shot of Western Hymn, who is current second favourite at 4-1, following Winning Story down to the start. This horse won in a first-time Visor win last seen 191 days ago, and interestingly they've changed it up again. They've gone for the first-time cheek pieces. Perhaps he's a horse who just needs a bit of headgear just to freshen him up.
Yeah, just trying something different. He took, I think, 10 races to get off the mark last season, but one thing in his favour, he's good fresh. I think he's 4 seasons, he's won 3 times. He was second on his reappearance. He was second in the Huxley Stakes round here. The trip is an unknown. He's never been beyond a mile and a half, so he's taking that on trust. He'll get the mile and 5 here. But the fact he's good fresh, the rain we have, I think, will be in his favour. And he hasn't got a lot of ground up to make with the likes of Duretto on the meeting in the St Simon.
He's an interesting horse, isn't he? 2 years ago he won fresh the Gordon Richard Stakes, and he beat a certain Postpone that day, so he's always promised to be a really good horse. What about this track? Well, he has run well before, but he has probably saved his best form right-handed, as he'll certainly Sandown.
Yeah, Sandown probably brings out the best in him. He won the listed race at the end of the season at Kempton as well, but you know that was a good run in the Huxley Stakes behind Cannock Chase. And the other thing, correct me if
I'm... We are just about set. They're all in. They're off, and slow to stride. Culmination at the back of the field early on in the Boodles Diamond Ormonde Stakes, this Group 3 prize, and they're 4 abreast heading into the turn. From the rail across, Diamonds Pourmoire, Western Hymn, Winning Story, Royal Blue Jacket, US Army Ranger widest of all under Ryan Moore, the dark blue silks, and now Western Hymn drops off that leading line, and so too US Army Ranger. So Diamonds Pourmoire and Winning Story disputed at the end of a quarter mile to US Army Army Ranger, racing wide of Western Hymn, and then Red Verdun with the red cap in 5th position, just ahead of Diretto, the hooped sleeves, Slipstream by Wall of Fire, and then Carbon Dating, a yellow sleeve jacket, and Culmination is a couple of lengths adrift. Top of the straight for the first time. They're moving now towards the end of 3.5 furlongs, and it's the Godolphin representative Winning Story who's moved on, with US Army Ranger easing back alongside to within a half length. Diamonds Pourmois, the yellow jacket, tucked away against the rail, and Frankie sits 4th on Western Hymn, tracked by Diretto. Red Verdun racing enthusiastically under restraint, and then Wall of Fire, Carbon Dating, and still 2 lengths away to Culmination. Into the next turn, approaching the halfway point, Winning Story leading the Boodles Diamond Ormonde field. Ryan Moore sitting now just over a length away on US Army Ranger. Then Diamonds Pourmois 1 length further back in 3rd, shadowed by Western Hymn. A length and a half Diretto next door to Red Verdun, followed by Wall of Fire in a dark blue jacket and Carbon Dating alongside, and now 4 lengths to Culmination. Inside the last 3/4 of a mile and heading along the far side of the course, still Winning Story dictating here. He's stretched his lead to almost 2 lengths over US Army Ranger, Diamonds Pourmois. Western Hymn and Frankie Dettori a length further back in 4th. The pace now beginning to lift. Then Diretto from Red Verdun, Wall of Fire bustle along from Carbon Dating, and Culmination is beginning to tail off. They're heading towards the last half mile, and Joe Fanning and Winning Story lead US Army Ranger and Ryan Moore. Frankie now edging a little bit closer on the far side on Western Hymn. Diamonds Pourmois is under a ride. Diretto's looking for a way through. Yellow cap hemmed in by Red Verdun and Carbon Dating. They swing for home now. 2.5 furlongs left to travel. It's Winning Story from US Army Ranger. They've skipped a couple of lengths clear. From Western Hymn, Diamonds Pourmois, Diretto finds daylight, and then Red Verdun. Winning Story by a diminishing half length as they enter the home straight. US Army Ranger throwing down a strong challenge. Western Hymn and the nose bandit Diretto still chasing. On down to the last furlong, and US Army Ranger has hit the frontier. Western Hymn is out after under the Tadori drive, and then Diretto. It's US Army Ranger a length and a half clear. Western Hymn is bearing down on him. He's edging closer. He's coming at him hard. Shadows the post, and they hit the line as one. Very close for 3rd between Diretto and a running on Wall of Fire, and it will go to the judge at the end of the Ormonde.
What a finish in the Boodles Diamond Ormonde Stakes. It is a photo between near side Western Hymn, ridden by Frankie Dettori for John Gosden, far side US Army Ranger, Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien, who hit the front a furlong out, looked as though he may have put it to bed, but Western Hymn, who always looks a touch awkward under pressure in a straight, he carries his head to one side, but he has found plenty, and he might just have got up. Here we go.
Finish for first place. In first place, number 10, Western Hymn.
Western Hymn has won the Ormonde Stakes on his first start for 191 days. His last success came in a first-time visor. This success has come in first-time cheek pieces. He was never too far from the pace, sat in 4th most of the way around. US Army Ranger was ridden close to the pace. The step back up in trip looks to have suited this horse, but he has just been worn down late on.
He has, yeah. First time over the trip for Western Hymn. First time he's gone beyond a mile and a half. He's needed every yard of it. First run for a while, as you say. Cheek pieces on, and he's just nailed US Army Ranger, who's been back to form today. He's got collared right on the line.
Let's have a look what there was in it then on the line. And it's tight for 3rd as well. Diretto, you can see actually near side has got 3rd, but yeah, no short-headed in that perhaps. It was very tight at the finish, but he has been worn down, Western Hymn, and we'll no doubt have a few quotes in for Royal Ascot engagements should he go there. We'll take it back to the start, and the horse that goes forward is Winning Story under Joe Fanning, who comes over from stall 8 to take these along, eventually replacing Diamonds Pourmois, who pinged out of stall 1 as the leader. And we did actually muse just at the start of the race that this horse back in trip, Winning Story, from 2 miles on the all-weather, he was likely to suit a forceful prominent ride.
Yeah, he was positively ridden 2 miles back to an extended 1.5 miles here. Diamonds Pourmois was fairly handy as well, and Ryan Moore, he was keen to have US Army Ranger pretty prominent, was never out of the first 3, and Frankie was stalking. He comes under pressure, does the winner Western Hymn, but he finds plenty for pressure, and he's seen out of the distance thoroughly.
Yeah, he has. He always does look an awkward horse. He always has. I remember even when he was being campaigned for a Derby, just in those early days. I remember him winning a maiden on softish ground. It might well have been at Sandown off the top of my head, but he looked an awkwardish horse that day, and you can see why they put a bit of headgear on him.
Yeah, they can. They've switched it around. You know, they tried something different with him last season. They've gone with the cheek pieces for the first time. In fact, sorry, he wore a visor first time when he won that listed race end of last season. They've gone for the cheek pieces. You know, he's not an absolute top notcher, but that's his 4th win at Group 3 level. He's won a Group 2. He's won a listed race, and he's stacked up the prize money. He's been a terrific horse for Connection.
I just wonder now if he's just slowed it down, Joe Fanning, on the front end. It looked like a pretty tactically astute ride, because he just seemed to stack them up in a bit and then kicked, and you wondered with this horse's stamina if he was just going to have the edge on a few of these.
And he got a lot of horses in trouble once he does finally kick. There was a lot of promise in behind. Diretto's run a blinder. If you consider we haven't seen him this season, ground's arguably quick enough, and he's got his penalty, so there's loads of encouragement from him. And Wall of Fire, he stayed on strongly over trip that could be on the sharp side for him as well.
A huge cheer from Connections of Western Him, particularly as Frankie does his flying dismounts, the second winner of the Chester meeting here for Frankie Dettori. This is the point where they start to wind it up. You can see crouching lower in the saddle as Sheen Murphy on Diamonds Pourmoire, Frankie Dettori on Western Him. They're under pressure in behind. Ryan Maud now starts to crouch lower, and actually the jockey doing the least is Joe Fanning, and now he says go, and I just wondered at this stage if he'd slipped him, but eventually it starts to take its toll and he's reeled in.
Initially, as soon as he's injected speed, he's got everything off the bridle, hasn't he? But US Army Rangers starts to respond much more like his old self today, and Frankie's mount, he starts to run on strongly now, as does Diretto down the outside.
Yeah, Diamonds Pourmoire goes backwards very quickly. She was never asked a serious question there for Sheen Murphy. You sense that the game was up for her. I hope she's all right. Perhaps this ground just quicker than she really wants it.
Yeah, I think so. And Diretto, as I say, under a penalty, he's run really well. And Wall of Fire, he was brought into by some Australians. Ultimate Aim, his Bellbun Cup, and you'd imagine going back up a trip would suit him.
Yeah, I won't say Diretto was unlucky, but he was one back on the inside rail. He just had to wait to make his challenge. He just had to wait to be pulled out. Eventually he is pulled out, and he's stayed on really nicely. The Andrew Balding horse is running really well at the moment.
Yeah, there's not many Andrew Balding horses that are running below par at the moment, so I'm sure he'll be straighter for his reappearance as well, and he should have a productive summer. If he had a wet summer, that would be in his favour, because the softer the ground, the better his chances.
Western Him, where does he go next? If he was yours, you'd imagine a Hardwick could be possible.
You would have thought so, but on evidence he doesn't look to be crying out to come back a furlong and a half, does he, on quicker ground? So something like the Yorkshire Cup's going to come too soon next week, but there'll be plenty of options. But I'm not sure he wants to come back in distance.
Yeah, he's always been a horse that's looked as though a real stamina test will suit him, and so it's proved here. He's won this Ormonde Stakes over 1 mile, 5 furlongs and 84 yards to be precise, and gets a winning kiss on the nose for his trouble as well. Let's get the SPs with Nick.
Cheers, Tom. What a finish. Western Him, who was second when a beaten favourite for the Huxley Stakes at this meeting last year, goes one better in the Ormonde. 7-2 the winning price for Messrs Dettori, Gosden and Geffen. It was a short head in the end to US Army Ranger, the 2-1 favourite. Diretto was third at 15-2. And the time over the